Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Movie Night Society. Today we're talking about House or Hausu, a Japanese film from 1977. I'm pretty sure I'm the only one who had seen this movie before. I This was my pick, and I'm I'm really curious what you guys thought about this. Um, I don't know who wants to go first. I think we're just going to jump into our thoughts real quick and then get into sort of the plot of the movie and what it's like. It's kind of a hard movie to describe just without seeing it. Uh, but yeah, what did you guys think? What did you guys think of this movie?
Will, go ahead, man. You punch this one out.
Oh gosh, where to start?
It's a good question.
I said before when I watched 2001: A Space Odyssey that it was like the trippiest movie I'd ever seen. I might have to take that back after seeing this movie. I'm just gonna say that right off the bat. This movie confused me a lot, not just with the plot, but just editing decisions. There were just so many parts. I was like, what is? I don't. Things just happen so quickly, like with the editing during some certain scenes. I couldn't even process what was going on, and it just keeps going. This doesn't give you time to think at all. It's like, wait. What just happened? I do not know what just happened. There's just things in the air flying, and the girl doing the kung fu, and I don't know. So I had to like rewind it a couple times. So there were some very entertaining parts in this movie, and I thought some really boring parts. It's like the movie kept doing this for me. Up, down, up, down, up, down. It's like I'm really invested. Nah, it's okay. Kind of bored here. Then invested again, bored. Invested, bored. So, gosh, what do I even say? Like I said,
Dustin, what did you think about the movie? Like,
Uh, I knew from the very beginning that the editing was going to be fucking terrible, or should I say creative? Just because I knew it was going to follow that pattern. By the way, I did get high to watch this because I watched the preview. I didn't know it was an old movie. I thought it was like a recent Japanese movie, so I wasn't disappointed. But I watched the trailer and I was like, there's no shot I can watch this sober. I either need like 15 Big Macs or I need to get high. Like I need some kind of stimuli to get through it. So worth it because I did watch. I didn't get distracted or anything. I literally watched the whole thing. There was I don't know on a couple of parts like the whole banana death. Like I was so fucking
yeah,
lost.
we need to
Like
get to that.
all right, well, I'll just say there's some parts in this movie. The editing was akin to like Zoomer memes, where it just like the transitions were just super fast sometimes with weird like overlapping editing and stuff. And I was like, dude, there's probably a bunch of 13-year-olds out there that would just die laughing at this whole thing. Not even because it's bad or good, just because that's what they're into. I didn't dislike it, but I didn't think it was good. That's just my view on it, but it was creatively weird. That's how I'll phrase that.
I
Creatively
think that's a
weird.
good way to put it.
Yeah. And that's not code word for bad, just literally face value for that.
Yeah, yeah. It's like it got released by the Criterion Collection, which I have the Blu-ray here, and I have the shirt that they put
That's
out.
cool.
Um, and I think the back of the box does a pretty good job of describing what this movie is kind of like. Even though it's the first sentence right here, it says how to describe Nobuhiko Obayashi's indescribable 1977 movie House as a psychedelic ghost tale, a stream of consciousness bedtime story, an episode of Scooby Doo as directed by Mario Bava. Any of the above will do for this hallucinatory head trip about a schoolgirl who travels with six classmates to her ailing aunt's creaky country home, and comes face to face with evil spirits, a demonic house cat, a bloodthirsty piano, and other ghoulish visions, all realized by Obayashi via Matt's animation and collage effects. Yeah, and it's such a wild movie. I don't know. I don't. I think I saw this movie maybe. I want to say like 10 years ago, maybe a little less. I'm not sure. Um, somewhere around there. I think it was in high school, and I don't even remember what I thought about it. I was just kind of like, what the hell? What the hell is this? Uh, and I was like, oh, this is something I gotta like show to people, like show to unsuspecting people someday. And I think it's finally pulled off. I have shown it to some other people who were not expecting what I was about to show them, and the reactions were pretty fun. Um, but yeah, it's just like I've seen this movie quite a few times at this point. Um, I I I really like the movie, and it's kind of grown on me. Like I don't know if I like. I think I liked it the first time, but you are just kind of like you're so much is thrown at you that you're kind of like, what what is this? So I don't know. Let's just talk about the plot real quick because it's a pretty. I would say it's another movie that's kind of a simple plot. It's essentially like the back of the box said. Uh, this schoolgirl named Gorgeous. That is the name that she is referred to the whole movie. Every character in this movie is like
I was so
has a
confused
really
with the names.
I love
Yeah.
the names. I love them.
I was
Gorgeous.
like, this
I
can't
think
be their
it's
real
great.
names.
Kung Fu. Like that shit was lit. That was
Well,
actually
they say that Mac, which is the name of the girl who just eats a lot, and like they keep
Big
calling
Mac.
her fat and stuff. And it's like she's not that fat or anything. Like
Yeah.
she just eats a lot.
No, that was
Um,
no, dude. That was fat like back in the day. That's different from fat now. It's like,
oh yeah.
well, haven't you seen that comparison? Like in a lot of movies and old media when they call people fat, and like when the Simpsons, when they do like comically obese bits, everything only people were only like 200 pounds, and now people are like 5. I'm not trying to fat shame, but that's just like how it was or whatever. Like when they refer to that kind of thing. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
Mac is
fat.
like not that fat. But they
Not at
keep
all.
like just like pressing like on her weight and stuff and like just teasing her about it. Um, but yeah, like they, at one point they say that her name is a nickname, but everyone else's like I guess are nicknames too, but that's just what they call them for the whole movie. So there's I'm gonna see if I can remember them all off the top of my head. There's Gorgeous, who's the main girl, Fantasy, who's the one who's kind of in love with the teacher, Mac we mentioned, Melody, who is a musician, plays the piano. There's Sweet, uh, and then Professor, who is like a smart nerdy girl with glasses.
Prof.
Like it's just like she's like Velma, like she's like Velma Dinkley from Scooby Doo.
My glasses.
And then yeah, there's literally a moment like that. Um, and then the last one is Kung Fu, who literally just does Kung Fu and just does like crazy like Kung Fu shit throughout the movie. It's weird. But yeah, so they're all going to Gorgeous's aunt's house, and basically it's kind of revealed that she is like this witch, in a sense, and she starts killing off the girls one by one to kind of like rejuvenate herself in a way. And that's really the basic plot of the movie. Like I think we could go beat by beat, but uh I
mean, I
don't
think
even know.
the special parts of this movie isn't even the plot, really. It's just how they fucking
Yeah.
tell it. It's insane. Like I
Yeah,
got
this
dizzy a couple times, man. Like just the edits were. I know that like especially back then, like if you were making movies out of another country other than Hollywood, given, you know, if you're living there, you're used to it. But to like me, the way they made shit was just so different. So already I would have thought the editing was bad, but now that he's so quirky about it, like it's out of nowhere sometimes. Like there's this one part in the beginning where she was like sitting in her room and she first met the cat that came out of her into her window.
Oh yeah,
And it
Blanche.
just
We
cut
got to
out of
mention this
fucking
cat.
nowhere. Yeah, and
This
then
is
she
like
was
the
just
cutest
outside the next
cat.
morning, and I was like, "What the is happening?" Like it was like a meme, and I was waiting for like a top bottom text, and I was just like, I didn't know what to expect, and then I was like, "Dude, I'm like getting it like stressed me out." It was like watching Uncut Gems again, dude. Like every time it cut, I was just expecting something to happen because you know, I'm expecting shit to like get really weird, but kind of in a good way almost. It didn't happen in the beginning. Like it was just this happy, like oddly cut movie, like that was pretty upbeat, I guess. Except for the very opening, which was kind of creepy. But I guess I mean just for the opening, yeah, it was a gnarly movie. The editing makes it for me.
Yeah, the editing, it feels like the director Obayashi just kind of used every possible kind of transition that he could think of. Uh, there's lots of I think one of my favorite moments is when they're on the train and Gorgeous starts telling them like about her aunt, and it goes into like an old film basically,
And
and
they're
it's like,
talking over it. It's like DVD commentary.
yeah, it's not even like, oh, we the audience are just seeing that and like, you know, she's just telling it to them. It's like the characters are also seeing it, and yeah, like you said, they comment on it, and it's really, I don't know, it's just really creative. I just like I don't think I've seen a movie do that, definitely not before like this, you know.
Mm. It was like
um
it's like that scene in an anime when they're about to fight, and then the main character like pulls out like a fake chalkboard and starts talking to the camera, and like all the
yeah,
characters are painted. You know what I'm talking about? It's like it
yeah,
was like one of those. And also the editing in that was cool too. Before it went into the story part on the train, the background was like a hand drawn looking cartoon thing
oh
that was
yeah, it
moving.
like this kid is like looking at like a storybook or something,
Yeah.
and it like goes into, it like zooms in on that, and then it shows like this animation of the train as if it's like from the storybook. um and yeah, there's so many uses of like matte paintings and just like green screen, very obvious green screen sometimes. Like there are some
Now,
parts that look pretty
was
pretty
before
dated.
that storytelling part, I couldn't, there was one part where I couldn't tell if it was just a big fucking set or green screen. It was when she went home, when Gorgeous went home for the first time, and his dad was on the balcony and the background was obviously fake. I couldn't tell if it was a green screen or a set. I think it's a set. It looked
Oh,
like a painted wall or something, like the
yeah,
sunset.
I think lots of the locations in this movie are just sets. Like
I
uh
think that's a cool part personally. He jumps
yeah, I
between like the weird green screen and then the weird animation and then the set. It's like it is corny sometimes, but at least it was kind of cool. Because if he just stuck with fake looking sets the whole time, I'd have been like, eh. But since he did so much weird psychedelic shit, to use that word, because it was on the back, it kind of like fit the vibe, to be honest.
yeah. You mentioned like this movie, like older movies kind of have a different you know, way of telling stories and stuff. This movie feels different from any other movie like back then, even to me.
Well, I wasn't
You know, it
comparing it
feels
to
unique for
those.
the
I just
time.
mean I was just kind of talking, making
Oh
kind of
yeah,
a
yeah,
weird example about the editing. But I do agree. It's not like anything. I'll give it that. It's fucking, it's its own thing.
yeah. It's so, I don't know. It's such a unique film. Uh, man, I don't know. It's just like, where do we start? Or
I mean,
like,
we did. We're on the beginning. I
yeah,
mean, you're
we're
cool if you
into
got
it. I
anything to
mean,
say about the beginning.
um, well, I mentioned how that cat Blanche is like the cutest cat like
Such a
ever.
I want that kind of cat with the face, with the squishy
I know,
face.
it's so
kinda
cute.
thing. Oh,
Uh, yeah, there's just like there's so many just like cool, strange things. Like the first time I saw this movie, like I was like, oh, this is fucking weird, and it's kind of bad. Every time I see this movie again, though, it just strikes me as like creative. You know, it strikes me as like everything feels so intentional in this movie. It doesn't feel like it was just out of like a weird experimental feeling. Like some of it is, I think, but I don't know. There's lots of like really great stuff in this movie. We're kind of jumping ahead, but the whole set at the end when the house gets flooded, that is like a really impressive moment. That was like really cool. And it felt so like seamless too.
that
I don't
was
know,
cool.
Will. What you've been kind of quiet here. Well, what do you think? What you
He
think?
just gets up and walks away. Like,
Well, I don't think it had quite the same effect for me. I think I'm more leaning towards how you felt the first time watching it. Is I think it probably could just be the time of when this movie came out, but I think a lot of things that he was going for just didn't work in terms of effects. So he had to make do with what he could do, but it just didn't work for me. Like some points I'm not sure if it's like, is this supposed to be like intentionally silly, or like do you want this to be more of a serious movie? Because at first we get in like the beginning of the movie, and really like a big part of the movie is kind of like people's fallout, like the reactions to fallout with war, like World War II, because the aunt lost who she loved
Yeah,
from the war, and he never made it back. So it's like it seems like a bit more of like a serious topic, but like then this film ends up being like so goofy. So it's like, which are you trying to go for, like a more serious tone or a goofy tone? I wasn't sure what the director was kind of going for, just like me
yeah,
personally.
I know what you mean.
I think it was
That part. Well, that part specifically, they like show the bomb go off, and then like the girls are like, oh, like cotton candy or
Yeah,
something like that.
because
It
they haven't
seems
grown
so
up like in a
fucking
time of war, so it's like
insane.
there's this like generation that grew up with war and the effects of war and everything, and then there's like the innocent generation who doesn't know that, and it's like a pretty like darker theme, more serious theme, but then
Yeah,
the movie is just so not that way, so I'm just like conflicted on that.
I think the movie is supposed to be funny though. Like I think it is clearly intentionally supposed to be funny at times, and like the movie is so playful with the style and everything. I think it's more just like it's just trying to be a fun movie. That's how I feel.
That's what it seemed like. I just not really sure then like why have like this more serious theme throughout the movie then.
I don't know. Some of the things I don't know about, but I just kind of love them anyway. Um, some of the more like atmospheric moments in the movie like really work for me. I love the scene where um, Melody is playing the piano, and really great song. Like I love the music in this movie. I like legitimately love the music. Um, and she's like playing the piano, and then Gorgeous goes upstairs, and she like finds the aunt's like kind of like whatever makeup table or whatever, and there's a mirror, and she's like looking at herself in the mirror, and parts of her like her face like falls off basically in parts, uh and I don't know what kind of effect you'd call that, like an optical effect, but and then like her face like looks like it's on fire, and then her whole body looks like it's on fire. There's just like something about that moment that I really loved. It's just so like
I
visually
thought you were
striking.
talking about the other piano part.
Oh, the yeah. Well,
So I
Was
was
it
like,
the
yeah,
dude,
piano
that part's
where the
great
piano
too.
eats her?
that was
Yeah,
I
one
was
of the
not
weirdest.
expecting that. That's for sure.
That's one of the weirdest
yeah,
parts of the whole movie, man.
and that's another thing too. Like I think that part is really cool. Like it's really, I don't know. it's just like the way the piano like comes out and like to eat her and shit. It's like it's so wild. It's so nuts. I've never seen anything like this. Um, and you guys know me, like I love Evil Dead. This movie feels like a big kind of precursor to Evil Dead 2.
That's what I was
Especially.
thinking too. Is
Yeah.
definitely like, Evil Dead had to have some kind of inspiration from this.
I feel like, I mean, I
Because
don't
it's got
know
that like
when.
it's got that campiness to it and cheesiness that Evil Dead kind of has.
Yeah, I don't know what the history of like this movie's release is like in
I know a little
America,
bit.
but
I know a little
oh,
bit.
okay.
Because I read the wiki a little bit because this movie didn't confuse me, but it was so fucking weird. I was like, there's no way the entire crew wasn't on shrooms. Spoiler alert, they were not. So I had to read a little bit. So I gotta paraphrase some stuff, but when it originally released, the director, like nobody would pick up the movie at all. And then I have to give some context. I don't know how much you know about that part. I just know the basic.
I knew about that.
Yeah, so he basically did everything except the movie. He did like a manga for it and all kinds of other weird shit until finally they picked it up and it released. And apparently it did pretty bad at first. And it's like it was only popular amongst young people because I guess I don't know. I guess young people just liked it. And then a company bought the rights to the film. I don't know if it was an American company, but they bought something that gave them rights to the film to release it in America. And apparently that's when like the whole cult classic type group came in and it started spreading around. I don't know if it like blew up, but I know that's how it kind of got like their whole Criterion Collection noticed thing and however that works and stuff like that. So I'm sure there's more to it, but I didn't like read a damn interview or anything. But yeah,
Yeah, this feels like it's around the time in America where like the midnight movie was like a big thing. Like Rocky Horror Picture Show came out a couple years prior. You had Eraserhead like come out the same year as this movie.
I
This was a
hate
really good
Eraserhead.
year for. Oh, fuck you!
I'm sorry,
Eraserhead's awesome. Come on,
dude. I can't, man. I don't hate it. It's just so fucking.
I love Eraserhead. I might recommend that.
Oh god, I'm definitely getting on for that one. Jesus.
And yeah, this and Eraserhead and Suspiria came out the same year. George Romero's Martin, I believe, came out this year too. It was a really good year for horror, in my opinion. But yeah, I feel like if this was released here in America, it was probably like you got to go to some like drive-in theater or grindhouse kind of theater to maybe an art
That'd be
house theater
sick.
would show it. Yeah,
Seeing this at a drive-in would be that fits the vibe of the movie too to me. I think that'd be a cool experience personally. I don't think I would go specifically to see it in a drive-in, but like if there was like some modern like now event where it's like we're gonna show this movie at a drive-in and then we like all went together, I'd be down like for that kind of thing. I wouldn't see it on my own though, but I just think it would be a cool. I don't know. It fits that whole outdoor big screen vibe for me for some reason. I don't know.
yeah, it feels like a good movie to watch with people, and I've done that before. I watched it with like a group of like 5 other people one time, and it was so fun. Everyone's like, "What the fuck is this?" uh, I want to go back to you saying like this movie was really popular with young people. Um, over the years, like watching this movie, I've always kind of thought like this like kind of feels like it would play well to kids, but maybe I'm crazy.
If
Like,
they're if
there's
if
nothing
they're not like
really.
super young and they kind of get what they're seeing, I think they'd like it.
Yeah, the only like, I mean, there's blood, but it's so like cartoonish
There's some
that I
nudity,
don't.
so
There is. I
There's-
always forget
yeah.
there's nudity in this movie.
yeah, I was kind of
Like,
surprised. I was like, because it doesn't show up until like the end of the movie. It's like, oh,
yeah,
okay.
it's like fairly incidental though. Like it doesn't like feel like it's like, oh yeah, we got tits in the movie kind of thing. It's just like, oh yeah,
There,
there's
there were
they're naked, whatever.
there were a couple in the underwater part at the end. There were a couple moments where he was zooming in very directly on titty on purpose. Like you could like there was no other explanation. It just zoomed in on the chest. I was like, all right, man, I get it. Like, like other than those couple hits, it was accidental, I think. That kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. What else what else? I mean, the first like kill that happens in the movie is Mac. And I think this is a really fun little kill. She brings a watermelon, because I think it's like customary in Japan to kind of do that if you're visiting someone's house. You bring
Melons are
something.
like honeydew melons, watermelons, and everything else. At least in Okinawa, I know their culture is a little different. I didn't really check in mainland, but they don't just set them out in the grocery store like they do here. It's like they wrap them up like everywhere. They just wrap them up in this fancy. There's like bow ties in a lot of cases. They are literal like expensive gifts. And they also taste better. They're sweeter for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always like, I don't know, in anime and stuff, I always like see them like, oh, they're going to visit a friend's house. Oh, they bring a watermelon. Uh, so I guess it's like a thing that's happened even back in the 70s. But so yeah, she gets like a watermelon from they like pass by this like watermelon stand, and like this dude is like all like sweaty and like just like weird. He's like basically the harbinger of doom. He's the guy who's like, you
We're
don't go
talking
to
about
the castle, you
You're
know?
talking about like the shopkeeper guy, apparently for the watermelons, right?
Yeah, he like has
Okay.
the watermelon stand.
They move the watermelon and his head is the same shape as the watermelon behind it.
Yeah, and he turns into a skeleton at
The
the end.
banana death, dude. The
Right
best
right
thing.
before the guy turns into bananas.
I
Yeah.
love it.
We should explain that just in case. So
I,
they
I can't
they keep
explain that. First of all, that's all you, bro. Like I can't
well,
explain
okay.
that.
They keep mentioning that their teacher, Mr. Toho, I believe is his name,
Yeah.
that Fantasy has like a crush on. They keep like cutting back to him, because he's gonna like meet them at the aunt's house at some point. But he keeps like getting delayed through various things, like he's stuck in traffic. Uh, the first thing that delays him is like he falls down the stairs in
With
like a
that
really
weird bucket edit, like the
yeah
stop motion fucking
yeah his butt falls in a bucket, in like a metal bucket, and like I don't know, it does like a, I guess, like stop motion kind of effect where it like it's just flailing around and stuff, and it's really silly.
I thought
um
that part I hate dumb humor like that, but for some reason, because that type of weird stop motion was so off guard, I did chuckle at that. It wasn't just like blowing air out of my nose. Like I chuckled. That was the funniest part to me in that movie, other than the banana thing, because I was fucking lost.
the banana thing is just like,
Well, I didn't laugh
what
at it
even was that?
while that whole thing was happening, that exchange between them both, and then he was like hitting himself in the head. I didn't laugh at that part. It was at the very end when the other lady drove up and he was a pile of fucking bananas in the seat. And I was just like, is that the fucking, and then I started laughing. Like I didn't
Yeah,
like
that's where the joke paid off.
it's
Like
so
the
weird.
slapsticky stuff is like not quite my thing, like beforehand, like you said. But that just like the payoff of like, oh, he literally just turned into a pile of bananas. Like, what the fuck?
Literally. I
Just
didn't
it's
and I
so
thought the
random.
shopkeeper was like a real person. They never explain that. He just like
It
backs
just
up
happened.
really quick, fucking turns into a skeleton, his head floats around, and then he starts like hitting himself, the other guy hitting the head, and that's it. I was just like, it's literally a fucking fever dream. That's what that part
Yes,
was.
I think I described Flubber as a fever dream. Like this
Dude,
is another
yeah,
fever dream, but I think this one's more intentional than
yeah.
Flubber was.
This is
Um,
Flubber was feverish by accident. They didn't know what they were doing at that point.
I wanted to mention with the watermelon guy, there's like a watermelon hanging on like a string or something near his stand, and it looks like Pac-Man. It's like cut open and split in half, and it keeps like moving like it's a mouth in the background. I don't know if you guys noticed that at all, or if they, I forget if they cut to that or anything.
I don't know.
Okay. It's just like a weird thing that happens. And then like when they're in the house, they find this like plastic skeleton or something. Or like
with the eye.
or like they, yeah, with like an eye. I think like it's implied that it was like a medical, skeleton. But every now and then, like in the background, you can just see it like dancing along to shit. And it's really
Wait, I never
it's
noticed that. Maybe I
Oh
did.
really?
I don't. I
It's
don't.
like
I noticed.
really
I noticed
random.
that a couple times.
Yeah,
Huh.
it's so random. I kind of like see this movie as a good like Halloween movie where you could put it on at like a Halloween party and it'd be just kind of like zany and fun and people could, get a spooky kind of vibe from it, but like also, fun.
This is
Uh
that's a perfect background Halloween movie somewhere, and like a
yeah.
gathering. I do agree with that because if you just look over and you see the skeleton, or you just look over and you see like a head coming out of a well, perfect.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think that's what I was trying to get to. The Mac's death. Uh they the aunt says like the refrigerator doesn't work. So like they put the watermelon in a well to like cool it. And then later when they go to get the watermelon, it's Mac's head. I think that's pretty great. I love that. And it like bites like Fantasy's butt.
For no
It's
reason.
just like, yeah,
Like,
for no reason. I guess because she eats things. Like
yeah, that
that's her
makes
whole.
sense. I mean,
That's the whole person. Like I kind of feel like this movie was almost like an early, like kind of like making fun of horror movies type of movie. Where we have like Scream, where it like addresses like every horror movie trope. Like, oh, don't go off and say I'll be right back, like that kind of thing. I
yeah,
feel like it was kind of making fun of the idea of like horror movies having really one-dimensional characters. Like, oh, every character in this movie is just going to be called this, and that's their only character trait. But they just like exaggerate it.
I loved
Um,
it.
yeah, I love it too. It's it's great. Um, yeah, oh, man, I don't know. There's so many just weird scenes to talk about.
There was one very deeply unsettling moment in that movie that actually creeps me out, and it's if I have a nightmare about something like horror wise, this is what would happen in my dream. And it's I don't know why, man, it hits me different. It's probably because I saw something fucking weird as a kid or something on TV. But that scene where they're in the kitchen and the aunt just
Oh,
disappears
yeah.
into the fucking fridge right in front of both of them, but
Oh,
she's
okay.
the only one who sees it. Now she comes out of like the attic after that. I don't care about the attic part. But if you were just in a room and you're kind of a sketchy, dark, old house, and you look over and some old woman just disappears into a fucking fridge, I'm offing myself. I am not living in that universe. That is fucking insane. And they did it perfectly. She just kind of like floated into the back of it, and she was like, ah! Like, dude, literally my reaction. I would scream and just lose it. That part was actually scary to me. And if they do shit like that in modern movies, oh, it's over, dude. That was actually freaky to me. And I kind of want to go back and just watch that part because that was deeply unsettling. And I don't know why I think it is. I don't know what led me to that, but oh my God, man.
I'm
Ridiculous.
trying to think of like scenes that I found like legitimately scary or creepy, you know. I thought the part where Gorgeous is like in the bath and she's like um the like hair comes up on her. That
Oh
was
yeah.
kind of freaky.
That
Uh
was creepy, but it didn't hit me in my soul, man. It was just a logical creepy to me. Whereas like the fridge thing was like a spiritual creepy. It was a different level, man. It went a few layers deep. The hair thing was just like I looked at it and I was like, yeah, that's creepy. If I had long hair and that happened, that'd be like weird. I'd freak out.
Oh, okay. I think a scene that's actually I think is pretty effective is when they kind of it's like kung fu and the professor like they go upstairs and they find Gorgeous like in the I think she's in like the bridal gown
Hmm.
and she's like leading Gorgeous no she's leading kung fu into the other room and then Professor like sees like in the mirror that like Gorgeous isn't really there.
Hmm.
I thought that was creepy. And then when they go into the room, they find like a clock on the wall, and they find like Sweet, like they see Sweet inside the clock. That was
Oh, that
pretty
was
creepy.
gross.
Yeah, and then like the clock starts to like bleed on the inside of it, which
It
again
was
was
like
very
a
Evil
meat
Dead.
grinder, dude.
Yeah,
But
I keep comparing it to Evil Dead, but like this movie obviously came out like 10 years prior to Evil Dead 2.
the death effects are just as like special effecty realism type thing, like no CGI type shit. It was just cool editing and stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. What Will? Do you have any other thoughts?
Not really. To be perfectly honest.
Movie wasn't your thing.
I don't think so, as much.
You give it a 5 at the end, like whoa.
Highest rating yet.
He's like, I was just fucking with you guys. I have another 30 minutes of notes. Like,
Yeah, I get what the movie was going for. I thought a lot of the stuff, like a lot of scenes worked, and a lot of scenes like didn't work for me. So, but I already said that.
I think I'll say that some of the comedy, I kind of said before, but like some of the comedy doesn't quite land with me every time. I think the more I watch this movie, the more I kind of just like it as like as kind of a zany horror comedy. But more when the horror, more when the comedy is kind of like situation based, like the piano scene, like where she's being eaten by the piano. It's so ridiculous, but it's
she was
like
like happy for no
yeah,
reason. Like,
it's so strange. But it's not like it's almost like it's not played as a joke. You know what I mean? Whereas like other stuff like the guy turning into the banana is like I mean again I like when they show the pile of bananas. That was funny because it's almost like they don't call attention to it. You know what I mean?
no.
It's
If
just
you
like
because it's
there.
all the way on the right side of the screen, it's not really in focus. Like you gotta look at it.
Yeah, and it's playing like
realize
this really like I don't know what you want how like to describe the song, but it's just like it's like a song that just feels like oh yeah, it's the end of the movie, you know, and and like the well we didn't mention the stepmom. Gorgeous's dad is like getting remarried after I think like her mom passed away like 8 years ago. So the stepmom like decides to drive to the house, and she gets there like at the very end to talk with Gorgeous. Um, but it's like yeah, it's like all like beautifully shot. It's like a commercial, you know. It like feels like a commercial, and then there's just like oh yeah, there's a pile of bananas over there, whatever.
you said just a fucking Ford logo shines up on screen halfway through.
Yeah, yeah. Or Honda if we want to be.
Oh yeah, that makes
Yeah.
more sense actually.
Yeah.
Ford is the opposite of. Oh boy, fuck me.
But like yeah, like some of the like when he's like he gets like the Mr. Chogo like gets in the car and he just keeps saying like banana, banana, banana. I'm like, this is a bit too far in terms of silliness for me. But
It was literally a looped. It was like an Instagram loop story. Like he wasn't just hitting himself. It was like reversing and rewinding. I was just like, what
yeah,
the hell? Like what? What are we doing? Zuckerberg took some notes from this thing, man.
yeah. But again, like all the creative, just kind of fun horror sequences in this movie. Again, you know, I like that kind of stuff. I like Evil Dead 2. And that's the kind of stuff I really liked, where it's just silly, but playing it off as like serious, and it still kind of advances the plot. Like I like the scene where Sweet goes into the like the storage room, and she finds like the doll, and all the mattresses just start attacking her basically.
Like,
And it's
why do
like,
we have so many mattresses? First of all, I have a logical
yeah,
question after that attack.
but they just like all start piling on her, and there's it's just like, okay, she's getting attacked by mattresses. This is ridiculous. This is silly. Um, yeah, it's just I don't know. It's such a wild movie.
It's a
I
trip,
feel
man.
like I wasn't sure if you guys would like it, but I figured like, okay, well, I think it'll at least be something interesting to talk about, or like something you should see.
I can't say it's, dude. It's I want to say it's a bad movie, but it's a different type of bad movie, man. Because I can watch it. Like if we're talking John Carter type shit, like dude, I'm literally bobbing for cock, like falling asleep like the whole fucking time, and I can't fucking like watch it. But at least with this, I can watch it and be like, yeah, the editing is fucking dumb. And like a couple times it threw me off, and I thought something else was happening, and I was like, whatever. So it's bad that way. Also, it's like I assume it's kind of like purposely. I don't think he meant it to be purposely bad, but he purposely did certain things that I think he knew were bad, but he didn't care because that was his thing. So when I call it bad, it's not like it's like a different kind of bad. You get what I mean. I'm not trying to like I'm not gonna shit on this like I would John Carter or like
Right.
Flubber or something. It's a different. It's a good shit. Like I'm taking a good shit. Like like that's how we're you know.
Yeah, well, I think it's because Dustin, you said the director kind of like that was what he was kind of going for. He kind of knew like this is silly. Whereas I think a lot of the problems with John Carter and Flubber, the directors or whoever didn't think or
Yeah.
stopped to think that this wasn't going to work. So I think
Yeah.
that's
And
the
with
difference between this and those other movies.
and
It's a
with
better way
John
to put it.
Carter, it was at least it was like not entertaining. I would say this is like very entertaining. I
Yeah,
don't know about you.
agreed.
Did you find it entertaining, Will, or like
Oh
were
yeah, yeah. No, like
you
I
kind
said,
of
there's
said like parts of it were boring?
yeah, like some where there like either wasn't like a lot going on, or I thought like certain scenes kind of dragged a little bit. But like when it got to most of the like very crazy zany stuff, I was pretty engrossed. So it's definitely more
Okay.
entertaining than John Carter or Flubber.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I'm not deny
Yeah.
that at all. Like there were definitely like when this movie had like a high entertain moment, like I was invested. And
By
then
the
like I
way,
said, it just kind of dipped for me like that. But definitely some good stuff.
yeah. I went to Disneyland recently and I was gonna get something for you guys, but I didn't because it was severely fucking overpriced. But because you know
Welcome to
Disney
Disneyland then.
Welcome to
Disney
Disney.
Disney owns it's a Flubber's a Disney movie. And I was looking and I
Oh my
guess
god.
this is yeah. I was gonna get you guys
John
something Flubber
Carter is
related.
too.
But yeah, I didn't. Hey,
Is
there
that
was
weird?
zero,
Like,
zero John Carter related items in any store. I spent 5 hours.
I'm
I didn't go on.
shocked.
I didn't go
what a
to
shock.
any rides at all. I just went to every store in every area of the park. And let me tell you, here's a surprising. This is how you know it's bad. And I didn't know this because I haven't been to Disneyland in like 15 years. But apparently, the whole new fad is collecting pins, like pin collecting of like
Oh yeah,
different
and
Disney
Yeah, I heard about
characters
that.
and some
Yeah.
you can buy some collectible ones and you can like trade them. They have like a trading board in a lot of stores for free where you can like if you buy a pin, you can leave one and take a different one or whatever. The staff, you have to tell the staff first, but it's literally just free. And they have a lot of limited edition pins. And one of the, I think it was limited edition, was Flubber, and he had glasses on. And it was like he was like posing like the actual Flubber thing. But unfortunately, since it was limited edition, it was $20 fucking for one pin. So I didn't get it. But they were
that's
in a few stores. So
that's actually not too bad for some pins I've seen.
oh no,
I've seen
I'm down with limited edition pins. Like I got a few Star Wars ones that were limited edition that were 20. But
But
for
Flubber.
Flubber as a gift, it's like, dude, I'm not buying a $20 pin Flubber. Like it's not fucking happening, man. It would have been a funny gag, but I
I
was
don't blame you. Don't blame you
yeah,
at all.
that would have been interesting.
Yeah.
All right, now we
I
got
know,
off topic, but there we go.
well, to bring it back, I know this site that I like a lot, Creepy Co. or Creepy Company. They sell like horror movie like themed T-shirts and stuff. they had like a house pin for a while. I don't know if they still do, but it was of this cat, and like the eyes lit up. I thought
The
that was
ultimate
cool.
evil.
Yeah. Oh man, that cat is so cute. It was just like every time it was on screen,
We
it's just
should
like,
say,
"Aw."
if people are watching this and like watching this right now, we have yet to show a photo of the actual cat, and the only
Oh
reference
yeah.
they have is your background for a cute cat. That
Oh yeah,
doesn't-
that's true. It's like this cute little like munchkin cat. It's like white munchkin cat. It's super cute.
super fluffy. Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah, Blanche. It's very cute.
Good name too.
Yeah. I like when they like she's like looking for the cat like before they get on the train, and then like it's just there. I mean, it's like kind of like, you know, revealed later that the cat is like also some kind of spirit. Um, but I like that like when they get on the train, the first time I watched this movie, it was like it was funny because I'm like, I didn't see the cat just like sitting there. So like they do this like little spotlight on the cat in the seat. They're like, "Oh, there it is," and I was like, "What? Oh, what? I didn't see that. Thank you." But now I can't take my eyes off that cat. I try to find it. There's like a shot where it's like on like one of the rooftops of the house, like at some point. Like, oh my god, I never noticed it's there.
I don't even know that scene. I probably missed out on it too.
I'm trying to think of what it's like a little later, before it hits like nighttime, I think. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of other cool stuff. I mean, like the whole film kind of like climaxes where
She
the
loses her
professor,
glasses like Scooby Doo.
yeah, the professor and kung fu and fantasy are kind of the only ones left. Uh, and gorgeous, but she's kind of been kind of, I guess, possessed by a spirit. She's kind of like been taken in by the house. Uh, so she's like essentially gone, you know, for all intents and purposes. Like, so it's just kung fu, professor, and fantasy, and the house basically kind of like traps them inside, which I thought was a really cool effect. Just like all the sliding doors coming in one by one, that was really cool. Um, and the house starts to flood after they kind of like realize like, oh, the cat is like what is um sort of like making it's like, I guess it's implied that the cat is almost like the hive mind or something, you know. So they're
Yeah.
like, oh, we gotta like attack the cat, we gotta destroy the cat, which they don't like really do physically, but there's like a this picture on the wall of the cat. It doesn't start out like this. It's just like an actual painting of the cat, and then it kind of morphs into this, which I thought was cool. But Kung Fu like flies over and like kicks it, right? Or no, she's like gonna, and then the like light from hanging from the ceiling like kind of like
no,
eats her.
you are right. She does kick it, just not in
She
the
does kick it.
correct manner of what a normal kick would be.
Yeah. So her like it's just her legs fly out and kick the cat and attack
It's
it,
like
and they're
it
like,
looks like it's like those lampshades where it's like a cylinder, and it falls on her,
yeah,
chops it. She gets
it like
Darth
eats
Maul.
her. Like everything in the again, it's like in Evil Dead 2 where the house kind of all the stuff starts to laugh and kind of become alive. But in this, it's like, oh, they're the piano and the lamp are like eating them, and then like I think later there's like a
Tin can.
like pitch, yeah, a tin can or pitcher or something of water that like has teeth on it, which was funny. um, but yeah, so like it eats half of Kung Fu, and like just her legs kind of fly off, like escape and fly off, and kick the cat, uh, and then the cat like painting starts spewing blood into the room and like floods the house basically, which
And it's
again I
like
thought was
old,
really
It's
Really
like
well
old school blood effects too, where it's like water, but it's just red light everywhere.
Yeah,
Like, in the water, so it looks red.
yeah. It's really like, I mean, everything in this movie is obviously very stylized. Um, but yeah, again, that reminded me of Evil Dead 2 as well. Like I can't imagine that Sam Raimi didn't see this movie, you know?
We should ask him.
Because in
Let's go to the red carpet for Doctor
for
Strange,
Doctor Strange.
and then just we'll be like, "Hey, man, have you ever heard of House?" And then hopefully he says something.
Yeah, that would, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Like it's such a it's such a wild creative movie. Um and yeah, so like the house starts flooding and stuff. Um yeah, I don't know. And it's basically just Fantasy is the only one left. We never see what happens to Fantasy, if I'm remembering correctly, right?
No,
Like,
she gets curled up in what's her name's arms, even though she's possessed,
yeah.
and that's
And
kind of it.
I almost feel like that was like after everything that happens, like she's like always the one that is like, no, like something happened to Mac, something happened to Sweet. She's like the, I guess not boy who cried wolf, but like she's just like the one that knows what's going on and no one's listening to her, like the whole movie. Um and it's like, and that's kind of like part of her name too, Fantasy. They're like, oh yeah, she's just imagining things. Um and so I kind of felt like that moment at the end is like Gorgeous decides to give her like a peaceful death, just like
Mm.
after everything she's gone through. It's kind of like a oddly sweet moment. Some of the emotional stuff in this movie, I'm not sure if I'm like totally like, oh, I get what happened. Like, I'm not sure if I really get what happens at the end where Gorgeous sets the stepmom on fire, or like what
And
it's supposed to mean.
she was kind of just sitting there taking it. It was a
Yeah,
little confusing to me.
I mean, it's just like surreal and just fantasy horror, but I'm like more just like, oh, what is that supposed to really mean? I guess I'm
Yeah.
still a little hazy on, but it's such a cool visual though. I like that of her like just on fire.
Being totally happy with it. It's like the "This is
Yeah,
fine" meme. Like the
yeah,
dog sitting in the house.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I clearly love the movie. Um, I think it's great. Um, do we have any like kind of final thoughts on it?
That's all I got.
I think it's a movie that um, gets better over time. If you like give it some years and then like maybe like watch it again, maybe watch it with like a group. I think a group watch is always fun with this movie.
This is the
Um,
first movie we've seen so far or talked about that I think I would enjoy in a group setting more than solo.
yeah, I think so
Yeah,
too.
I'd say I probably agree with that. Some movies are just kind of meant to be watched with people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think it's just it's something that like I every time I watch it, I kind of like appreciate the creativity more. Um, again, I love the music. I love the way this movie looks. It's got some really creative, crazy ass sequences in it. Um, it was like a movie like just like once I saw it, I was like, I'm never gonna forget that, you know. Um, so I guess I'll should we just get into ratings? Should we just do
Yeah.
it? Okay. Let me just get a piece of paper to write our ratings down on my phone. Where the hell did my phone go? Oh Jesus Christ! I'll just
Oh,
give
it's
my
done.
rating. Okay. Um, I don't know if I'm crazy, but I really love this movie. Um, I I'm personally giving it 4.5.
I don't
Um,
think you're crazy. It's in the Criterion Collection, so I mean,
yeah, and sometimes Criterion releases like I feel like a lot of Criterion movies are kind of like slow, like honestly kind of boring art house movies. I like art house movies, but some of them can be like, oh man, that was I get it, you know.
it took you
This
3
is
days.
something. this is something like even with like how many films do they have now? Like over 1,000 in their collection. It's like this still really stands out in my opinion. Like this still is just like a if you're getting into Criterion, like this is like a must have, I would say. And I haven't even checked out like the bonus features, honestly. Like,
Or like,
I
is there
really
like
should.
deleted scenes or something?
Um, let's see. There's like a whole nother film by the director on here. Um, there's like a video essay, interviews with the director, and his daughter as well, who is a story scenarist for the movie and the writer. Um, so I might want to check that out. I also want to say too, like I think it's a movie that if it was like if there were no other movies by this guy and he didn't have like a following, I would kind of think like, oh, maybe it is just bad, you know, like maybe it is just like a weird one-off movie, but um, a lot of the other movies that he's made have seemed to get like really high praise. So like, I haven't seen them yet. I've been wanting to. I've gotten a few of them on Blu-ray, just haven't checked them out. He passed away a couple years ago. I think like April 2020. I think. Um, not from COVID, but from lung cancer. I forgot how old he was, but that was really sad to hear. So I don't know. Just like check out his other stuff, maybe. Maybe it's more accessible, maybe less weird. I don't know. But yeah. Anyway, four and a half from me. Love the movie. Um, Will, what would you give it?
Hmm. Mine would probably be like a 2.5. I think that's fair. Like I said, it had like some pretty high highs, but kind of low lows for me. I definitely think some of the pacing was a bit funky. Some of the editing was like really fun, and then some of it I thought just didn't quite work for what he wanted, but he tried to make it work anyway. So I give him props for that. But um, I just think, and I like really like over the top, silly, kind of weird stuff a lot of the times. But I just for this one in particular, it just like a lot of it just wasn't working for me. But I think if I was to watch it again with a group of people, it could change. But just going off what I saw last night, just watching it by myself, I think like a 2.5 is pretty solid.
Solid.
Okay.
Piggybacking off what you said, I really think the only reason I am not going to give it a 3.5, or I'm going to give it a 3. I'll start off with that. And the only reason I'm not going to give it a 3.5, maybe a 4, is solely because of the editing. I just think the editing's bad. I think there's a couple parts that are creative. And when I say editing, I mean very specifically the transitions between scenes. Not like the cool editing parts. I just mean this, especially in the beginning. I don't know. I don't know what that was about. I mean, I'm sure he had a vision for it, but it didn't hit me. So I'm gonna give it a 3. Otherwise, it would have been a 3.5 or a 4 if it just wasn't like on it. They were like stock iMovie transitions, but they didn't exist yet. Like which, and to be fair, those were cool when those came out, and this was way before that. So I mean, it's one of those conflicted things, but I'm gonna give it a 3.
Okay. So that's a 4.5 from me, a 2.5 from Will, and a 3 from you, Dustin. So okay, that's 10, right? All together, which would be an average of 3.3 out of 5. So now we have an interesting thing here. I keep a list of like what we've watched and how we rank them, how we rate them. This movie got the same score as The Suicide Squad. So I thought it'd be interesting, just like when we
What did I rate that?
You rated that, I think 3.5. Yeah, you both rated it 3.5. I rated it a 3.
What the fuck? I gotta my shit's out of whack, man.
So I guess we'll just do a simple like yes or no. Do we think that this movie is better than the Suicide Squad? Or like would we
No.
rate it higher?
No.
So they're so
I mean, I would say
different.
I know they're so different.
They're
I mean,
so
for me,
different.
I
Like,
think
they're
it's
not.
obvious. Like,
Yeah.
I think the Suicide Squad's way more entertaining.
See, both for me, like both the movies, like have like there's some really good moments, and then like parts I just like don't care for. I think I like Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad is longer, so I think it suffered a little bit more than this film did for parts that either just like didn't work for me.
yeah, this movie is like a under hour and a half.
I think if like I had to choose like one to see again, I probably would pick The House just because it's shorter.
What?
Just because it's shorter, or something like that. I don't know which one I'd like more. I think overall I'll remember The House more than the Suicide Squad.
Agreed.
So
Okay.
Take that as you will.
Okay, so that's a yes from Will.
Even
and
though I think
it.
actually I gave the Suicide Squad a higher rating than this, though, didn't I?
You did, yeah. So which one? Which one? Which is ranked higher?
What did I
I'm
rank
saying, I'm saying House should go higher. Dustin's saying Suicide Squad should go higher.
Okay, we'll give it to House.
Okay. All right.
Now, you're sure you're not talking about the TV show, right? Where you're talking about the movie.
We're talking about the movie.
Are you talking about the 1986 horror movie House? You're talking about the 2007 horror movie House?
Ah, okay.
Are you talking about House 2, the second story? Are you talking about the House?
Wait, what? Why do you have all
the House?
Why do you have it ready?
Series,
there's so many things called
House 2, 3, 4.
Wait,
there's too many horror movies named House. It's ridiculous.
That's very true. For a second, I thought the other one, Cabin in the Woods, was called House in the Woods, and then I realized it wasn't. I was gonna make a joke, and then I was like, "That's not the fucking name."
All right. Well, I'm just double checking my math because I've gotten it wrong a couple times. 4.5 plus 2.5 plus 3 is a 10.
Yeah.
Divide that by 3.3. All right. So it's ranked right above the Suicide Squad. And as we go on, any other movies that kind of manage to tie other movies in our rating will decide the ranking.
Is Rocky still the highest?
Rocky is still the highest by an average rating of 0.1 higher than nice. 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Ayo.
And those are both picked by you, Will, and it's your turn to pick what's next.
Here we go.
It is.
I'm curious.
To be perfectly honest, until like yesterday, it's like, oh snap, it's my pick today. I don't have anything. I had some stuff in mind, but I had to check. Like, oh gosh, is it even on the streaming sites I'm thinking of? No, it's not. I don't think it's here. So I'm gonna go with another very recent movie. I say that like last time I picked this 2001. That's not a recent one, but I mean like I picked The Suicide Squad, and that was kind of like a fairly recent movie. This one isn't even more like a recent movie. Like it just came out like 2 weeks ago or something. Maybe you guys know what it is. I haven't seen it.
I think we have an idea.
And I have an idea.
Yeah, it's the Batman.
Ah,
okay, yeah. We were talking about this right before you joined the call. We were like,
okay.
I was like,
Julian
called it the Batman for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, you called it. I did it until like today. So you know what? There's that.
That's sick.
I didn't until today.
I'm glad you chose that because I've been wanting to watch it. Like,
I've been wanting to watch it, and just seemed like a good way to do it. So why not? Julian has seen it before, and he liked it, I believe. But have you seen it, Dustin?
Dustin's seen it too.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've
been wanting to see it again, really bad.
So. I have not seen it, so I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm down for seeing it again. Yeah, I'm excited.
I'm taking notes on this one.
Oh, you're going to take a lot of notes. It's 3 hours, yeah.
I have to take some notes. Now, I'm not going to take like a page.
It's 3 hours? I forgot it was that long.
Yeah, it's
3 hours.
But you said
want to watch it in a couple sittings.
Yeah, you said it didn't really feel like 3 hours though, right?
I didn't
No,
think it felt
I
like
didn't
3
think
hours.
it felt like 3 hours. But
I
we'll,
thought
probably
it felt
won't
like an
feel
hour
like
and a half. An
we'll
hour.
get to that
Yeah,
next week. We'll see how we feel.
Well, we're
Especially
doing it
for
right
us,
now.
it'll be a second time.
A
We're gonna
live
talk about it right
discussion.
now.
Everyone get the fucking movie on.
Oh yeah, we'll just record for another 4 hours. 3 hours.
4
watch movie, like
hours.
at least, and then like an hour to give our thoughts.
All right. Well, that's it for this meeting. Yeah, join us next time for the Batman. We'll see you then.
Deuces.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.